Good evening. Hello, Mr. Professor Sanjay. Thanks for making it to the Amrita University Bangalore campus. So I think it was very interesting for me to know that having been a good and close friend to you from the last 30 years of our journey, we are here now in the Amrita campus, and I would like to ask you a couple of things which I feel it's very crucial for the present engineers in our university. But particularly when I see Amrita also stands for similar principles where we look at not just the secular education, but a lot of value-based education,
Right.
and how to go about reaching our education to the society. So that is where I think there is a lot of common line between where you come from in the Ohio State University as well as where we have been. Our education was done.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask you, how did it inspire you to get into semiconductor physics, and how relevant it is to the present day in terms of the industry, and what kind of a message that you have for the Amrita students while in their engineering?
So, Professor SIvakumar, is a very interesting question, and I think the key, there's a lot of interest in semiconductors, and one of the reasons with semiconductors is a very critical technology that we have. It also is now essentially the basis for having technology. So if you look at one of the things that technology does is it basically is a leveler. It provides a lot of improvement that can be affected for common lives. So I think the mission of Amrita University to not only do technology development, but also translate this for socioeconomic problems. So for example, one of the big things that technology has done in the past, say 100 years, is low cost energy. 100 years back, even the richest person could not do what right now anyone can do, is turn on electricity, turn on with the power of a switch.
Right.
So technology, low cost energy is one of those things that we have. So I think the solutions for tomorrow's society will be provided by the engineers and the entrepreneurs of today. So that's what I would say, and I think that's what you said about value-based education is important, because ultimately you want not just engineers who understand technology, but also who are good human beings, people who are helping others, making sure we don't hurt people, and minimizing the damage that we have. So that's what I think value-based education, value-based entrepreneurship, and there's a lot of interest in social entrepreneurship that we have.
So I also know for sure that with the kind of advancement we have in technology, there is always this balance that we need to maintain. How much we are hurting the nature. And even though we, as you mentioned in the talk, nature is the best teacher. We probably as a child we would have heard that.
Correct.
But as a scientist now we realize that if we can even mimic 1/10 of what nature is showing, we will be able to produce technology which can be very, very groundbreaking.
Correct.
Research. But in that same level, how much are we damaging it? Are the scientists actually aware that whatever the industry that we are growing into, we are also damaging a lot of nature's own beauty? So how would you bring keeping that in mind when science is growing?
That's a very good point. I mean, that's a much bigger challenge than what a simple scientist or a technologist can answer. But the way I look at it is that we are part of Mother Nature. We talk about Mother Nature in a third person, but we are part of Mother Nature. And I think the key thing with a lot of spirituality will teach us is that the world is not centered around us. It's not a human-centric vision. There's a whole Milky Way, there's a whole galaxy, there are other things that we have. So we are just a tiny speck. Homo sapiens have been around on the earth for 70,000 years. So we think by living a life of 80, 100 years that we have done, we are just a tiny speck. So the moment we realize the magnitude and enormity of Mother Nature, we realize what a small, insignificant portion that we are. So we have to have that social responsibility to be able to do this. So I see us as a part of Mother Nature, and the things that we do will have consequences, and so good and bad. So there is going to be things. So we as a society, as a nation, as a species, will have consequences for the future. So I don't know what they are. I'm up in the food chain. I'm low enough in the food chain. I don't know, but I think we are part of Mother Nature.
And I also have come across a lot of leaders trying to bring in this awareness these days about how much it is important to follow green technology and ensure that even though we need these industries, at the same time, if you are sensitized to the point of what can be avoided so that it does not damage the nature. So in that aspect, as you're coming from the United States, with your university being I mean, I don't know how many years old. Probably it is
Yeah,
more than 50,
more,
60
yeah,
years
yeah,
old.
exactly.
And you also mentioned about having close to 60,000 students.
You're right.
So how is what exactly your university does to mitigate these challenges
Sure.
and then probably reach to the society in a more application
Sure.
oriented research?
Yeah.
What exactly you are?
Yeah, so I cannot speak for Ohio State University per se, but Ohio State is what they call as a land grant institution, and so one of our charters is to take care of our constituents, our society. So one of the very famous quotes that Jamshedji Tata had was that the community is the reason that the ecosystem exists. So I think our mission as a land grant university is to take care of the public, to provide. I'm a technologist, I'm a scientist, but all of us have a social responsibility. But Ohio State has a big impetus in sustainability, in making sure that we have a viable ecosystem. So we have a large student body. But there's a lot of community efforts that Ohio State is involved with. So not just Ohio State, but also the state of Ohio being able to get that. And then I think lifting and empowering the making sure we address some of the socio-economic issues that we have.
And what would be your message for the youngsters, the young minds, the students, as much as they are into their undergrad studies?
Yeah.
There is a lot of information available to them.
Yeah.
They're exposed to whether it is science or materials and any other form of nature entertainment. It's available to them.
Correct.
How do you keep their attention in the university?
Yeah.
Within the four walls of a classroom?
Yeah.
And expect them to learn when they can just type in a Chat GPT and you get an answer. So how do you think, what would be the role of a professor in molding the student?
Yeah. So and I think it comes to us like as professors, we think that we have the fountain of knowledge. We also are learning. So I think it's really important for us to keep that intellectual humility. And if there's one message I would tell the students is always stay curious. Like you said, you made a really good point. Just sometimes we get into, there's a difference between having a discussion and having an argument. Argument produces more heat and discussion produces more light. So I think the role of a guru is to basically provide light to remove darkness. And I think, so students are our gurus. So the fact that why are they, so attention span is decreasing, but they also, the new generation has a lot of empathy. They have their own set of challenges. So just because we did things certain way when we were 18 doesn't mean that they will do the same way. I'm sure our parents are disappointed in us the way we turned out, but I think it's that's been going on for ages. So I think so I do have hope for humanity because I think a new generation has a positive attitude. There's a lot of ecosystem in the both here in India and seeing all the vibrant technology development, but also all the social work. There's an intrinsic. So someone said a very interesting thing about spirituality is when you close your eyes, you find peace. Right. When you open your eyes, you ask, what can I do for you? So that's what it is, and that's what I think you just can be irrespective of the religion, irrespective of the organization, it's being. So I don't see any conflict between science and spirituality. Absolutely. It's essentially, but recognizing what a small, tiny speck that we are. We have a limited time on this earth, and the best we can.
Right. I think that's a very, very important point because the more you think you have advanced, you also realize the more you do not.
Absolutely.
And I think that's when the true learning happens. Exactly.
And there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom. Right? So it's so sometimes the wise owl is a person who sits there and just basically takes in everything. And then so that's the key is realizing that we all learn little things about Mother Nature, but we just need to know that it has to come with intellectual humility and staying curious.
Great. So thank you so much, sir, for visiting the Amrita University. I'm sure we will have a very long collaborative effort from now onwards. I certainly have a lot of good researchers here, and even the faculty members are very much interested in collaborating. And maybe in future we would go forward with a specific problem, solving a specific problem, and probably having an understanding between the two universities and go further down the lane. And, since you have always also visited IIT Bombay and IIC, and I think this time we will also make it more regular.
Yes.
Every time you visit India, we'll probably make a visit to the Amrita
University. I'm looking forward to working with you.
Thank you so much, Professor Sanjay. I think looking forward ahead for a longer, collaborative and more happier journey.
Absolutely. Sounds good. All right, take care.